How do you identify a crypto scam? This is Sasha with Arcanum Ventures, and today we're going to do just that using on-chain data, and we're going to dive into PEPE, one of the most hyped meme coins of all time, launched back in April, and also uncover how potentially one person walked away with over $10 million within 1 week. Here we go. By now, many people are familiar with PEPE, one of the most hyped meme coins of all time, launched back in April, like I had mentioned before, and soon after the launch, the price had skyrocketed. I mean, obviously, these are many, many zeros, and it looks like an insignificant amount, but it catapulted to over $2 billion market cap. Close to the beginning of the token launch. This caught our attention pretty early on. In fact, I think we saw it before that. We saw the website, in fact, and tried to understand the fundamentals behind this project. What is the PEPE token? Who launched it? What is it used for? What you'll see here is that you can buy PEPE in a number of different centralized exchanges, but they don't really promise a whole lot. Make meme coins great again. There's a lot of unprofessional language. There's no information about the team. But more importantly, there's some info around tokenomics and this ridiculous number of a token supply. No taxes, no BS. It's that simple. Over 93% of the tokens were sent to the LP, and LP tokens were burned. The contract is renounced. Remaining 6.9% of the supply is being held in a multi-sig wallet that can only be used as tokens for future centralized exchange listings, bridges, and LPs. So the good news is a lot of that can be verified on chain, which is exactly what we're going to try and do. So what we ended up doing is putting a Google Sheets workbook together. And I've got that up here for you now. There are a lot of different APIs and tools you can use to pull on-chain transaction data. I've mentioned this in previous videos. I like using Google Sheets personally for the beginning of on-chain transaction analysis because it's very, very easy to quickly pull up a lot of transaction data, filter through it, analyze it, etc. And so what I've done here is pulled all of the initial transactions of the PEPE token as soon as the token was minted and loaded onto the LP. You can see here the first transaction, numero uno, is the actual minting of the supply. 6.9% of these tokens were sent to the smart contract or wallet, just like they had mentioned. 93.1% sent to the LP, which is this contract address right here, the liquidity pair or liquidity provisioning token pair, where Uniswap allows individuals to buy or sell tokens into that contract. So the team did exactly what they said they were going to do. But what caught my eye was immediately what happened after they loaded tokens into the LP. And you can see here very clearly, these are the transaction numbers in order of when they were submitted to the blockchain. 0.55, 0.5, 0.56, 0.55. Roughly 0.5% of the entire token supply bought up one transaction at a time. These very consistent transactions span, I think, close to 100 different transactions of 0.5% of the supply at a time. No sells, all buys immediately after the tokens were loaded to the LP. If you go all the way down to the first sell transaction, number 81, we'll sum all of that up. These transactions sum to roughly 40% of the entire PEPE token supply. So let's break that down. Tokens were loaded into the LP. The team said they burned LP tokens. They have no access. Basically a fair launch model. We're going to load tokens in the LP. Whoever can buy them will buy them. And then immediately we've seen close to 100 very, very similar transactions of individuals buying up roughly 0.5% of the token supply, equaling 40%. Is it possible that these are insiders? That, they loaded the tokens of the LP and then immediately started buying those tokens within 1 to 2 hours afterwards? We're going to take a look and figure that out. And so how do we do that? We know that there's a lot of transactions that are all buys. We can randomly pick one transaction. These are all buys from the Uniswap LP contract. And if you see here in the receiver, These are all different wallets that are buying these tokens. So we'll just pick one at random. 69. How befitting. And then we'll go to Etherscan and see what we can find. This is a great way of understanding wallet behavior. Very, very low effort. You can just copy and paste a transaction or a wallet address in Etherscan and see what pops up. So this particular wallet still holds roughly $1.5 million worth of PEPE tokens. That's absurd. If we go to ERC20 tokens, we can see the token transfers that they've got. And it looks like there's still activity here, even a few hours ago. But what we'll do is go all the way back and see if we could find that first PEPE transaction. There's a lot of transactions here. And this is exactly what I wanted to show. The very first transaction on this wallet was a buy for PEPE tokens, meaning that the individual controlling this wallet created it to purchase PEPE tokens. Now, that's not uncommon. Sometimes individuals will create a wallet specifically for buying, investing in, or holding one asset. It's, what on-chain immutability and lack of transparency sometimes allows you to do. You can create a personal identity for a specific investment. What's concerning, though, and let me tell you without actually showing you, and you can trust me on this because I've got the data to back it up, more than half of these early insider transactions are from new wallets, meaning that whoever these individuals were created those wallets and then purchased PEPE with them as their first transaction. This screams coordination, if not potentially one individual performing all of these actions, because they're all very, very similar actions. So without coordination, it might just be one individual that goes in and buys 2 trillion tokens at a time from the LP. One of the benefits of analyzing on-chain transaction data is that you can use certain markers like a wallet address. You can pull up the entire transaction history for that wallet address, even one particular token in that wallet's history, and look at exactly the behavior around that one token. And that's what we did here. I marked down all of the new wallets created here, these new wallets for insider buys, and I created a list of them. I then pulled up the entire transaction history of PEPE and pulled all of the transactions that these new wallets made. So I was able to pull up all of their buys, all of their sells, and also the historical price history for PEPE to mark the prices back to these timestamps here and get an idea of exactly how much those wallets gained. I've got that right here. And if you take a close look, we've got 57 different wallets that participated in the early insider buys that are new wallets. Now, there's roughly half of the insider buys were from wallets with some transaction history. We'll dive into that a little bit later. But new wallets alone, 57. On average, each wallet or individual spent close to $50 for their PEPE buy. They bought PEPE around $50 worth. That gave them close to 2 trillion PEPE tokens. With the PEPE transaction history, many of them systematically dumped those tokens in the DEX as the PEPE token gained more and more hype behind it and more people bought in. These individuals sold their PEPE for an average value of close to $300,000. So look, let's talk about this, right? A net profit for each individual wallet of close to $250,000. 57 wallets times $250,000. That's roughly $10 million, and potentially one individual that controlled all of these wallets. These transactions all happened within 1 week of PEPE listing on Uniswap. 93% of the tokens in the LP, close to half of that bought up by insiders, who knows, maybe more on transactions that we didn't even look at, and close to $10 million, I think over $10 million of both profits and portfolio remaining in these wallets. $11 million made by one individual insider or a group of insiders that nobody knows because the team is undoxed. This is the power of on-chain data analytics and the power of transparency behind blockchain, specifically Ethereum here. We were able to use a tool like a Google Sheets API, pull up the entire transaction history list, look at what happened when the token was loaded onto the LP, and understand early insider trades and how much those insiders potentially made. In the next video, we're going to dive into maybe who are those insiders by taking a look at their transaction history and behavior to paint a picture of how they operate on the blockchain, what other assets are they buying, and what other projects have they started up or scams have they started. Thanks always for watching. If this content interests you or if you like it at all, make sure you slap that like button. Maybe subscribe for some more content coming up around on-chain analytics. Stay safe out there, y'all.